And we're back, and we'd like to thank you again for being a part of the Black Male Community Council's Boots on the Ground, Black Men Standing. And here we are with our second guest for our second episode, great brother, a man that has made so much contribution on so many levels in Philadelphia, another unsung hero, another brother that has been in the background, just making change day by day, doing the right thing for the right reason. My good friend, my good brother, Brother Wali Hamid. Good afternoon, and how you doing, my brother?
Good afternoon, Brother Kofi. How are you? How you feeling?
I'm doing great, man.
I feel great, man.
I'm great like chocolate cake.
It's good.
All the city hall,
It's a
baby.
good day, man. It's a good day. We woke up above ground.
That's right.
So we can talk. It's a good day.
It's a good day, and I'm glad that you joined us today. And I always learn something new about you in terms of your history and the things that you've been able to be involved with in Philadelphia. And I'd like our audience to know more about Wali Hamid. I know that you've been a part of the unions here in the city of Philadelphia. I know that part of your legacy is that in terms of the Muslim community, you've made such a great contribution, even being one of the brothers on the docks that brought the fish into Philadelphia at that particular time when our communities, where you could go in every corner and you could smell fish frying and people having fun and smiling and having a good time. And you were a part of all of those things. Mm-hmm. You stood up and you trained brothers to be able to be men. You've done so much in terms of what that is, and you're still doing so much. So I'd like you to talk a little bit about Wali Hamid.
Well, Wali Hamid, man. So much about Wali Hamid that I know of, because I am Wali Hamid. Talking about the fish program in the Nation of Islam. When I was a lieutenant back then, bringing the fish into Philadelphia. Matter of fact, I was the first brother that brought that fish into Philadelphia. And we distributed that fish all over the city at the times of when people was hungry, people had no food. And so that fish was a good product for the inner city people. The people that ain't had nothing. And sometimes the fish, you didn't have to pay for the fish. We would give you the fish. If you're hungry or something like that, we would give it to you. And being a lieutenant in the Nation of Islam, I'm not going to use the word control, just to help men build themselves as human beings, what I was taught, through Elijah Muhammad back in the late 60s, early 70s, when I came into the Nation of Islam, after I left Masonry. Yeah, because I was in the Masonic order, Cruise Lines number 11 back then, and I heard something different.
Well, what introduced you to the Masonry, and you went there from Islam? How did you get inducted into the Masonry?
And the Masonry, my father and my uncles, and where I was living at on Captain Street was Masonic order. Call it a cabinet meeting, where Masons go and gather and talk about what they're going to do for the communities. And me hearing all this stuff, man. And I was living in the place, living in the house where they had their cabinet meetings at. And so my father and my uncles, I went to them and asked them, can I join? Because I like what I heard. I like what I was hearing downstairs.
Okay.
And they didn't want to pull me into being a Mason. And then after I was a Mason for a while, went around some of the chairs, became junior ward in Prince Lines number 11. And traveled with the Masons all over the country. They went all over the country too.
Okay.
And all the stuff we did, done in the city, all our marches and advocacy, everything we did trying to bring awareness to the communities.
Okay.
And from there, I heard something different. I heard something different, man, because I know one thing, I don't want to expose anything to anybody, but what I didn't like why I changed and came into Islam is that I heard, it was well, other words, 32 degrees of masonry. And I know one thing, man. Then they talk about you have to get 33 degree. And I know one thing: 32 degree is a freezing point. If you look in your refrigerator, man, you turn your knob, everything in there freezes at 32. So where did 33 come from? So that struck me. So I said, hold it, man, these guys got 33. Where'd that come from? So I started thinking, man, let me try something else. And I heard the Minister Farrakhan on the radio. And I heard another brother named Stanley. His name was Stanley too. In fact, his name is, what is Stanley's name? Omar Kareem. And I started listening to him on 52nd Street, going up on top of his shoe store. And then from one thing led to the next thing, man. They seen how I was progressing, how I was doing things in the city. So a captain named Daoud Nasir, he was the captain at that time after Sam, Chris, and everybody left.
Okay.
I'll put that down too. And after he left, he became captain. And he drew me closer to him because I was always with Daoud.
Okay.
And a lot of people were saying, man, Wali driving the captain's car. Wali doing this. Wali doing this. But it was fun, man, in them days, man. Trying to get us to learn about ourselves. You know, because one thing Elijah Muhammad did teach was the do for self.
Okay.
And I think we all, and especially in this day and time, we can still do the same thing supposed to be doing for self, and everybody else too. Because you can't do for everybody else, you can't do for self.
That's true.
Okay. So, and then after Elijah Muhammad, after that period of time, as far as the Nation of Islam, the transition of me following Prophet Muhammad, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is that I heard I seen a clear picture of what I was after. Okay. And it was nothing but the truth. I was looking for the truth, man. I went so many steps trying to find the truth. And after I got here with following Prophet Muhammad and listening to and reading the Quran and seeing the clear truth in the Quran is so clear. I mean, the Quran makes everything clear. There's nothing dark in the Quran. So that's why I'm at today. And I think I'll stay on this here till I go and get my grave. I think this is it. I ain't getting no further. Yeah.
So, with all of that, so what made you, with that knowledge, join the Black Male Community Council? Do you see some light in the Black Male Community Council?
Of course, I see a lot of light in the Black Male Community Council, because I see from day, I believe it, I'm not sure, from day one when Stanley asked me, and you asked me yourself if I want to be a part of it, and had me out there with some brooms, man, and weed whackers, man, and cleaning up the community. You know, when we first started back then,
sure.
25th Susquehanna, and I see this thing growing. I see this mushroom blossoming, blossoming to really blossoming. I see it happening, and I think it's going to be a very, very intricate or very I see the Black Male Community Council flying throughout the city. I see a lot of people joining, coming on later on in life. Okay. Because I see what we're doing here. We're doing so many things here. And yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute for Black Male Community Council, because there's so many other things that I know that you're involved with, right? You know, you're making a movie, or you know, you're involved with the Juneteenth piece and all that.
Right.
So, but tell us a little bit about that, because I think that there is a line between the movie that you're doing and what we're trying to accomplish here at with the Black Male Community Council from a certain perspective. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
About the movie? Yeah, the movie is called The Nights of Gratitude. It's a true story about 9 inmates that was in prison called The Power of Attorney. But we got to use another name, The Nights of Gratitude. Anyway, these guys was all lifeless. every one of those life is, and they all passed away, but one Smith, I think he's still doing life up in Gratisford with a new prison. And it's a true story. We try to bring a Philadelphia story to the world, not just the city of Philadelphia. And every day we out here trying to get in different places to make this movie happen. We've been doing it 5 years now, and we haven't got to where we want to get at yet.
Okay.
But we know we are shot so many places throughout the city already. And we got one more goal in trying to get into the prison to shoot this movie, because it's about the prison. And once we do that, we get edited that, put it together.
You said the Power of Attorney. Now, I know the Power of Attorney, they were a performing group.
It was a band that developed inside the prison. And they were singing, they was going out of the prison. And out the prison singing with James Brown, being on the Merv Griffin show, singing with Connie Stevens, singing with Minnie Riperton, and going back to prison at night, back into these cells.
So you telling me that this band was inside of Gratisford?
Yes.
They would come out at night.
Yes.
Get on a bus.
Yes.
Go do a gig.
Yes.
And then come back.
And
go into the prison.
Go back into the cell.
Wow.
And then the inmates was jealous of them. They let y'all going out, come singing. But one thing about it, I got to throw this in there. One thing about it is that the prison system was taking 15% of their take. You know, it was taking 15% of their pay. Granted for might as well say the state.
Right.
And these guys made records, man. Made it with James Brown. Power Door Records.
Okay.
Yeah, Power Door Records. And these guys was good, man. These guys was great, man. This movie gonna be a blockbuster when it's finished. So,
well, it sounds like a chicken dinner winner to me. And the analogy that I want to make between the brothers that were incarcerated, coming out at night, going back in, is their determination of continuing in a situation that they might not feel they had no other choice but to be in. And when I look at the Black Male Community Council and the work that we're doing in the community, we're in a situation where we have no choice but to do the work.
Right. You are. We are.
But to do the work.
We got to do the work. We got to do the work.
For the community that we serve. Yes.
We got to do this work, man. And I see the Black Male Community Council doing it. I see the Black Male Community Council flipping a lot of things over in the city because of their connections with everybody in the city.
I hear you.
I see this happening. I might not be here to see it all the way through, because you know we all headed that way.
That's right.
A lot of us ain't gonna be here too much longer. So we all headed that way anyway. Yeah, I see the Black Male Community Council rising. I see new people coming in, and people that's gonna take our place and flip this thing over, man.
I hear you.
I see that.
But well, you know, you have always impressed me with your insight, and because we've talked about so many things over the years that we've been friends, and a lot of things that you have predicted, that stuff came true. So yeah. I appreciate you from that perspective, man.
I appreciate you too, Kofi. You know, when I first met you, Kofi, we were sitting around a round table.
Yes.
That's only on this here level. I'm not talking about cutting meat. Back in the day, being a butcher. I ain't talking about that part. I'm talking about on this level, sitting around a round table with Kenny Gamble and more people that ran this city. But I actually came and sat next to you. It was something that's happening there that I knew that you was a person that could flip things around and turn things around too. So I think that's why I sat next to you, and we was together ever since.
Yeah.
We done been down Texas, man. we done been all over the country together, man. And during Juneteenth. And you was a brother that brought Juneteenth, one of the brothers that brought Juneteenth on a bigger scale to the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, thank you,
and I was right there with you. And so now, with this new thing we got, No Longer Bound, the musical,
right.
That's gonna be a great thing too.
That's going to be great.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
And
man.
one thing, and about that, that's another avenue that the Black Male Community Council is involved in as well. And
Yes, they're involved in this too.
that's right. So, we are moving as a family, and we're doing so many different things, and I believe that the outcome is going to be very positive in terms of our efforts. That we're going to make change for somebody that's
Yes.
going to be able to
Yes.
make a difference
Yes.
for our experiences, who we are as Africans born in America.
Yeah, man. I see it happening. I see it happening. So I see it happening rapidly. It's not on a slow pace now. I see it happening on a faster pace now.
Surely.
Years ago it was on a slow pace because we couldn't move nowhere. We couldn't do anything, man. But now I see it moving on a faster pace as us's. I'm gonna use that word.
Us's.
Can I make that? That's a
You
word.
can
That
make
a word
that
in the dictionary.
You can make that a word if you want, man.
Us's. Us's. Come together, man, as a whole in this day and time. And I see it growing real faster, as time go on, because we're starting to listen to each other now, a little bit.
Wow.
And not much,
I hear you.
but we are
I hear you.
starting to listen to each other. And besides all the killing with the young people out in the street, because they're killing each other up, young people are killing each other. Old people just die naturally.
I hear you, beloved.
The way God designed it, you leave here. They leave here, So, I'm trying to come up my head with some things that make really real sense here. And, yes, the Black Male Community Council is going to thrive and be one of the top communities in the city of Philadelphia. One of the top, I'm sorry, let me take that back, one of the top organizations here in the city of Philadelphia. And I see it happening. So I leave here tomorrow or tonight, whenever God comes to get me,
I hear you.
I'll see the Black Male Community Council rising
Wow.
to the top.
Well, Wali, I thank you for your comments, man, and your statements, and the energy in terms of how you pursue things in your own way. I view you as a real Renaissance man, and that you have been able to provide our communities with great things. And I know that you will continue to do it, as we
Yes.
both say,
Yeah.
to the grave, baby.
To the grave. To the grave, baby. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Again, here's the Black Male Community Council, boots on the ground, Black Man Standing. We thank you again. Stay tuned for our next episode to be coming at you very soon. Peace and blessings.